Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the kitchen and we're going to be making something a little bit different yet again. We tend to make food for a lot of the people that we care about, all the people around us in our lives and daily activities and such, and for ourselves. But we do not tend to make our own dog food and pet food. And that's really important because if you love your dog half as much as I do, you want to make sure that you know what he's eating and you know that he's eating healthy food. So in this video, we're going to show you how to make food for your dog and make sure that it's healthy. So sit back, hit the subscribe button, and enjoy the video. Alright guys, on the counter tonight, we're going to start off with a few chicken legs. We're going to boil those bone in a pot of water until we can pull them off the bone, and then we're going to cook the bones a lot longer and get as much of the nutrients and flavor out of those as we can. And then we're going to take the bones out and put the meat back into here. And when we do that, that's when we're going to be adding in about 2 cups of brown rice, about 2 cups of green split peas, just a few carrots chopped down, a small squash, a small piece of pumpkin that we had laying around, another piece of summer squash, and all the veggies that I have, the veggie scraps left over that I have from cooking all week. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the broth going, get the hard vegetables in and the rice, and then we're just going to add the others in to finish. Alright guys, so we're back. We've got the chicken boiling over here in a pot of water. We've got all the vegetables cut up. It doesn't really matter how you cut them up, but I tend to cut them up fairly small and relatively sized and shaped the same. That way they cook evenly and make sure they cook all the way down. We've got the split peas and the rice mixed in together here because they're going to go in at the same exact time. And then we got the vegetable scraps. And we can basically just take and dump those on there. That's just a little bit of cabbage and tomatoes and things like that. Alright guys, it's been about half an hour. We're going to go ahead and take these chicken legs out. Stick them in the freezer real quick. Cool them down so that we can pull the meat off the bones and put the bones back. Alright guys, so I've got all the meat pulled off the bones here, and so now we're just going to take all the bones and joints and put them back into the water here. Set the meat aside, just add enough water back to it to cover them, and we're going to let this cook down for a while and pull as much of the nutrients out of there as possible. Alright, so the chicken bones have been cooking for a while now, so what we're going to do here is we're going to come over here, we're just going to strain the liquid into another container. And what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that we don't have any bones in there. And this is absolutely important to do because, as we all know, when it comes to chicken, you tend to have little sharp bones like this, and you want to make sure that under no circumstance that goes into your dog's food. So now that the chicken stock has been strained out and all the bones are gone, we're just going to add the split peas and brown rice to the liquid, and we're going to let it cook down. And once those start to soften up, that's when we're going to add in all the veggies. Alright, so we're back, and as you can see, a lot of the starches have started to work their way out of the rice, and the rice is softening up along with the split peas themselves, getting nice and soft now. So what I'm going to do is, since there's not enough room in this pot to add the veggies to it, I'm actually just going to divide it into a second pot, and what that's going to do is give us room to mix all of the veggies into the 2 pots. So now that the veggies are in, we're just going to stir them together, make sure that they're covered in liquid. If they're not, you can add in as much water to this as you need because they're going to soak up a lot of the liquid and the veggies are going to break down into it. But it looks like this is pretty good to go. So once we get it stirred in, we're going to come back in about 25 more minutes. So while all the veggies are cooking down, this is a good time to go back through your chicken. I like to just start and pick through it, or just go through and like pull it almost like you would with like barbecue pulled pork or something like that. And it's a good chance just to make sure that you don't have any pieces of like bigger cartilage that your dog's not going to be able to digest properly, or any small pieces of bone that may have been left behind. Once you have all of the chicken pulled, you can go ahead and just divide it between the 2. It doesn't really matter how you divide it. I try to do it about even, but just keep in mind that later on we are going to mix these together so that we end up with one final product, just like whenever you make any 2-batch product. Alright guys, so we're back, and as you can see, now all of the veggies, the squash and such in here are nice and soft. So that means that the food is pretty much done. But just as one last final step, what we're going to do is I'm going to pour both of these into one large bowl, and that's going to allow me to mix them together. so that we have one consistent product, so that our dogs are getting a nice mixture of everything that's in here every single day. So you can store yours however you like, but for our dogs, I like to divide them out into some medium-sized storage containers. And what I do is I keep out whatever they're going to eat over the next few days, and I'll go ahead and freeze the rest, so that a couple days before they're ready for it, I'll just pull it out and let it thaw out in the refrigerator. That way they can have it whenever they're ready for it, and it doesn't go bad sitting in the refrigerator waiting. Alright, well, before we wrap it up today, I just want to remind you that before you make dog food for your dog, check with your vet and make sure that he's going to be provided with whatever nutrients he needs. For instance, I like to add glucosamine to my dog's food because he has some hip issues and he just really needs that for his joints. But depending on what your dog needs in their diet, you may want to add some other sort of additive to it, and it's going to differ from dog to dog. But that is the basic recipe on how to make dog food that you know exactly what's in it. Good, healthy, balanced dog food, cheaper than you can buy at commercial grade. Also, don't forget that there are some things that you can absolutely never put in dog food, such as onions or garlic, grapes, raisins, etc. Avocado pits, things like that are absolutely poisonous to dogs. So do just a little bit of background research if you decide to go crazy and put a lot of stuff in there first. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.